On this video, as part of a series on digital marketing, we're going to look at choosing the right domain name, the importance of getting the domain name right from the beginning. This is hugely important. And the rules, not the rules, but the advice has changed over the years. We're in 2020 and there is conflicting advice as to what is the best domain name or the best way to choose a new domain name, perhaps for a new start business. Perhaps you're in the middle of the nightmare of rebranding your business. But we're going to look and hopefully be able to give you some tips in choosing a good domain name in 2020. Now, this video accompanies an article that I wrote on the dedicated website for this video. The articles are available on barryriley.co.uk, which and there's lots of other digital marketing articles available on there. Okay, key points of choosing a domain, choosing a new domain name. The key points we're going to cover are branding, keyword search engine optimization. We're going to cover TLD, top level domain extension. That's your .com or .net or .org, whatever it is you decide to do. We'll touch on that. And copyright. This all of these things that we've mentioned here, every one of them, all relates back to the same advice throughout this entire article, and that is to research. Do thorough research before you begin. This is hugely important. We cannot underline this enough. Research at the beginning of a project when looking for a new domain name is key, and will save you a lot of headache later. Okay, we'll start with branding. And firstly, the first point we're going to touch on in branding is the consistency of your brand. Now, let's explain what we mean by this. Consistency of branding. This means, let's say your name's Tommy and you sell tires. Now, you could have on your business cards, on your van, on the side of your van, you could have on your invoices, you can have Tommy's Tires. But then your website, that you discover that domain isn't available. So instead on your website, you go instead for Tommy's Auto Services. This is not ideal. We have to stick with branding. Consistency in branding throughout the entire project is key here. And it's brand recognition. This all comes down to brand recognition, and your domain name sits at the center of this. On a business card, you don't want, we've used Tommy's Tires, you don't want Tommy's Tires as the business name. Then down at the bottom, your email address is tommyautoservices.com. There's confusion. There's no consistency there with brand. And this is something that on the radio and various radio stations I've been on, this is something that's drummed in from day one when signing a contract to present on radio stations. There is a branding, very, very heavy on branding. For example, if a radio station is called Hot Radio, they really drum this in. They say, do not go on air and say Hot FM. It's called Hot Radio. That's our brand. And it's hugely important that there's brand recognition attached to that. Now, the second thing we're going to look at is the phonetic. How does it sound if you're choosing a domain name for your new website? Say it out loud. How does it sound when you say it out loud? This is quite important. Now, if you are, for example, let's say you're taking a new domain name, you have to remember that this is not only going to be your website, this is going to be your email address. So if you say it out loud, blah, 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 at, and then your domain name, if you have to say it to somebody, say it out loud to somebody, and if they say, what, how do you spell that? Or forget it, choose another one. Say it out loud, make sure it sounds good as well. Another point, we're used to joining two words together to make up a domain. We're used to this now. In the internet world, it's generally something.com or .co.uk. Type it out. Type it out on a screen. and look at it carefully, because the last thing you want to do, and we've seen this once or twice, the last thing you want to do is discover that the two words that you've merged together have something obscene or rude or something in the middle. This is branding nightmare stuff. So say it out loud, type it out as well, and make sure it's easy to pronounce. So that's the kind of idea with that. This is going to be your email address, as I say, and also let's steer clear. We're going to move on. We're going to look at spelling and characters. Steer clear of any words that are perhaps difficult to spell. Not so much difficult. Any words that can be misspelt. Then you want to avoid these. For example, let's use an example. Let's say you sell cakes for special occasions. Don't put the word occasions into a domain name. It's too easy to be misspelt. If the end user has to stop and think, how do they spell that? I wonder how, and if they have to leave that page and go to another Google page to see how to spell the word that they've got to type into the URL, forget it. Easy to spell, and forget special characters. We're talking about hyphens and the like, and even numbers. Avoid the numbers, like the number 0 particularly, because users don't know whether it's the letter O or the number that they've got to put into the URL. Avoiding special characters is also beneficial for mobile users. Remember, we have to appeal to mobile device users as well. And on some devices, in order to put the dash in or a special character, they have to come out of the keyboard that they're on, and then they have to go into the special characters keyboard, find the character, put it in. This is not ideal. This is inconvenient for the user. So we avoid special characters, and we avoid perhaps words that can be misspelt. And this includes surnames. If your name, perhaps, let's have a quick think here, Thompson. If your name's Thompson, if the user has to stop for a minute and think, is it with a P or without a P? Consider something else, okay? Cross-platform. Now, this covers social media. Something that, again, we're going back to consistency and branding with this. With cross-platform, you really have to check whether your name that you've decided to go with is available on all the social media platforms. This is quite important, because eventually you're going to stem out onto Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, LinkedIn, all these things, and YouTube. You want to make sure from the beginning that these names are available. There are, if I can pull this up here, there are some, there are various websites. We found one called namechecker.com. All you do is you type the keyword or words in, you hit check, and it checks all of them at the same time. I'll stick that link in the bottom in the description. And it checks all the social media channels. Ideally, if you can match your social media channel names up to be exactly the same, so it's at the same, it's consistency in branding, the same over every platform, this will help and make branding far easier online for your online presence. Okay, avoid abbreviations. We have listed here. It often, when we see, if you're in the car and an electrician's van pulls up beside you and they're called KHN electricians. If there's any electricians watching this who go by the name of KHN, this is random. We do apologise. The point is this: it's maybe somebody's initials, and by the time that van has turned the corner, you've forgotten, because it means nothing. You've forgotten all about or what the letters were. So try and avoid, if you can, abbreviations. Instead of using abbreviations, use your name. I've used my own name for this website, from my digital marketing site. I've used barryriley.co.uk. I could have looked for BR, digital design, but that's more difficult because that doesn't mean anything to anyone. It's more difficult to remember. Remember, the memory works in chunks. If you remember to the olden days when we all used to memorize phone numbers, it was done in chunks. And abbreviations don't help that process. It's got to be something that's snappy, easy to remember. and that generally works best. Now, the other thing we're going to cover. Let's move on first of all. Short and snappy. You don't want a domain name. Obviously, you don't want a domain name certainly that's over 15 characters. That's far too long. Furthermore, if you go for the 15 character, you're not going to get a Twitter or similar branding to go with that. So try and keep it short but to the point, and we'll cover adjectives in a moment. The next thing we want to do is dispel keyword domains. When researching this article that I wrote, that this video is attached to, whenever writing any article, I do thoroughly research the subject first, and just to make sure I haven't missed anything and perhaps some key points. And one of the things I found when researching the subject of choosing a domain, one of the things I wasn't happy with was the general advice is to keyword load your domain. So using, picking your best two keywords and loading them into the domain, then sticking .com at the end. And the suggestion is this will help search engine optimization. The truth, it's 2020. The truth is this: Google is smarter than that. They do not rank your page on the keywords. The only advantage the keywords might have is to suggest to the human, the end user, that this might be the website that they're looking for. So by all means, include one of your keywords. Now we'll get to this now. One keyword, but attach it to a niche word which has nothing directly to do with this particular keyword. Randomly, let's say you sell buns. If you can be all day trying to find words that match up to buns, but if you go for something random to attach to the word buns, Betty's Buns, there's probably websites out there, and if there are, the chances are they own not just the top result on Google, the chances are they own the entire search result page. Include a keyword and a niche word that has nothing to do with your actual subject or trade. A project I worked on recently was a search engine optimization project, and it was actually selling umbrellas. And we decided we stepped back from it, and we put in a surname along with the word umbrellas. That surname was unique on the internet, uniquely attached to umbrellas for this particular site. So when you search for this particular site now, you don't just list number one or number two. You own the entire page. You have a niche word and your keyword. When I say you own the entire page, the top result is the website. The second top result is the Facebook page. Then comes the YouTube, then comes the Twitter page, then the Instagram page, then the Google images. The entire page is owned, the whole page. There is no competition. Now, why? Because why would you do that? Why? Well, the thing is this. If you're going out and doing groundwork and pitching and doing sales and doing the groundwork, and the user, let's say you're at some kind of wedding fair or something like that, and you do the groundwork, and the user gets home, and what was the name of that crowd? Blah, blah. Oh yeah, they search for you, and they search for your name. Now, if your company was called simply Wedding Umbrellas UK or something like that, by searching those words, you've done the groundwork, you've done the hard work, you've made the leads, you've made the contacts, people are looking to purchase your products. The problem there is, if you're searching Google for wedding umbrellas, because that's the name of the company, you are suddenly competing. You've done all the work, but you are competing with every single wedding umbrella company. in the country. Furthermore, if you don't hit number one, you have just done the groundwork and you've given someone else the business. The business could go elsewhere. They might land on your competitor's page and look at it and think, it looks the same, the logo looks the same. Yeah, that must be them. They were really nice people when we were chatting to them at the trade fair or wherever it was. We'll go ahead and we'll purchase. That must be them. And you've just done the groundwork and your competitor has got the benefit. So by including a niche word and a keyword, boom, that problem is solved. Avoid adjectives is the other thing. Adjectives, words like best, cheapest, quality, skilled, finest, all this kind of stuff. If you're a driving instructor and you go for bestdrivinginstructor.com, same rules apply. You've suddenly gone into competition with every single driving instructor website, and every single one of them, I can assure you, will have the word best in there somewhere. So you want to avoid adjectives within your domain as well. So copyright. This is the subject that we have to finish on. It's down to research. You want to avoid at all costs any infringement when it comes to copyright. Think out. Do not think, well, it's completely different. I've researched it. It looks completely different to the nearest competitor with a similar name. Think again. Think from the angle of whether a court, a judge, or a panel in a court will decide that your brand is too similar or your name is too similar to somebody already trading under that name. And it goes back to the abbreviations thing. Whenever I see a website with an abbreviations, blah, 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 dash something else, .com or .co.uk, whenever I see that, I generally think, the first thing I think is, well, it looks like they couldn't get the .com. That's their second choice. But research, you're looking at the brand recognition of the brand, the styling, and particularly the name. Research this thoroughly. These are the 3 points. Research. It's not just the financial costs that you could face if you are found in infringement of copyright. It's not just it's the brand. It's your brand reputation that is at stake as well. All the hard work you're going to put in to the brand will come undone. Furthermore, you will be forced to stop trading, and you'll have to go back to square one. Whereas you're at square one now. Get it right from the word go, and you avoid the headache that could be a copyright infringement. So those are some of the main points in 2020 for choosing a domain name. Hopefully that's been of help. And the key is keywords. Do not worry about keyword loading your domain, as is suggested in most blog posts and articles that you might read online. The key, in my opinion, the key is use your strongest keyword along with a niche keyword that nobody else on the internet has used, and you will own the search page. When somebody searches for you, you will own the entire page, and you'll be able to get all of your social media channels and hooks from there as well. So that's our advice on choosing a domain name. This video, of course, accompanies the article that I wrote in an attachment to this, and that's available on barryriley.co.uk. Massive thanks for watching. Hopefully that will help. And as always, if you want to hit subscribe, if you want to subscribe, if you don't. But thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Digital marketing, website design and social media management. barryriley.co.uk